torture chamber of puzzles where you walk in and out of chambers to try and progress in the labyrinth, but you can't. There are murderers and evil people inside the labyrinth. It seems like no one has for centuries solved the last puzzle or gotten out of it. I had this feeling like this was a recurring dream. I don't vividly remember having the exact dream, but I just know that this is the labyrinth part or something. I've dreamt of it before, but now the ending is different, I think. And I grabbed this like piece of paper I overheard someone just found, like they solved something, and then I kind of like snatched the paper that they threw into a specific hole somewhere or bookshelf. Well, it wasn't a bookshelf, it was more of a sliding cupboard, but not. They threw a piece of paper with, I think, numbers and some writing into it. I snatched that, and then because everyone was walking around in different teams, and that they made within themselves, people naturally, and I was within my own group with a couple people. I don't remember which people I was with, but I snatched that paper, and then instead of being selfish and taking it for myself, I went close to them and started like quickly explaining things like I do when something's under pressure, being like, okay, and I said that we should just join teams, and then one other guy agreed, just trying to be like reasonable and saying that this is right because less people are going to die, etc., etc., and like we're all gonna be free or something like that. But there was another guy that was complaining because there were bad-minded people in the labyrinth trying to say that this was a bad idea because apparently they knew what this specific puzzle was, and it was like a death sentence, they said. Like, it has never been, no one has tried it before, or like, it's, people think there's like a death involved with it, like a sacrifice. I don't remember if that was the case, but when he started saying like, no, you can't do this because someone's going to die or something like that. There might have been like an elephant character or totem in there, but there was a hole at the end of in one of the chamber sections. Maybe it had teeth around it, but you could enter it if you had that note. And we were all just arguing with each other whether we should go in or not. And actually, when we entered the hall, some of us, well, when I entered the hall, I looked back at the people that didn't want to go, and I was saying, like, don't worry about what they think, something like that. And then, for some reason, like, people weren't sure. And when you entered the hall, then like there was no entrance or ending to it. It's like you just made a circle around, like it was a pillar instead of a door, and you just went around the pillar and came back to where you were. But that's, I think, if you changed your mind, it was like a dark archway of a door. That when you were looking at it from the outside, there was a hole looking like a door. But when you walked through it, or when you were inside it, then that disappeared, and it, like, there wasn't a door. It was just a passageway leading to nothing. It was still in the same room. So those were that unsure, they just came back, and then we started like thinking again, like, what is happening? Like, oh, why do you not want us to go in? Or like, some people wanted to stay with the others, and etc. etc. Stay with their teams, but there was approximately, in total, I'd say, like 8 of us, and and then we proceeded to go into it again. Proceeded to go into it again, and then actually it was like when we entered the door, I think some of us actually teleported outside immediately to be free. And it's like you had to had a specific mindset when entering the door to actually leave, which I found interesting. But before that happened, before I found the note and everything, everyone was wandering randomly across the chambers. There were murderers and not so friendly people, and no one has seemed to have get out of the labyrinth for millennia. I remember the insides looking like deserty, like maybe sandstone, a little bit light orange. Maybe there were bone decorations here and there. It was very dusty. And before I took the note, I remember there was one of the puzzle that was like close to the end. Oh, it just like when you were in the labyrinth, you couldn't tell where you were. It was just random, like a labyrinth. Except, I guess there was no like high walls. I think there was a ceiling and all that, but the labyrinth didn't look like a typical labyrinth, not in the shape of it. It's just that there were lots of random, like, stations in a way of puzzles, and like boxy rooms that led into each other depending on which one you went into, etc. etc. And like, for example, you had 3 different puzzles in one room and stuff like that. So maybe I had the feeling like this was a really complicated puzzle in the sense that you had to go back and forth long distances to different puzzles. And if you screwed something up one moment, then you had to go back and reset another one. Or like the puzzle itself was complicated and you needed elements from another one or a specific puzzle. Or maybe, yeah, stuff like that. And there was this one puzzle I remember where you just felt like you were close to the end. And when I saw that group of people I would try to argue with, I remember there was Ethan was there, I think maybe Alex. Ethan was the one agreeing with me, which was strange enough, but naturally I just feel like he's an okay person and actually has common sense. I think when we were arguing, someone else was trying to... Oh no, that's a side thing. think I was outside before the labyrinth, and then at some beach, or just like there was like school weird ceremony. Everyone was just gathered outside in uniforms, and I was just trying to get some rest, and this was weird mandatory thing. Don't remember what we were doing. Miss McRae Smith was there. Crap. My check for some reason with some other guy. I was just trying to rest, and they were taunting me somehow, and I just like laid there. Oh, maybe it looked like a beach, but I remember like it. I just laid so that it looked like a beach, but the corners of it looked like a corner of the room painted like a beach actually, but not all of it was a room. It was so confusing, and like it was painted sunset and stuff, like bluey purple, crazy. But back to the puzzle, before the note I grabbed, it looked like there was this arcade machine where you have 3 random slots. And there was a counter next to that, and it's like you were walking into one of those fast food places where you just order something, and at the top was the like arcade thingy, and I think someone had a $5 bill that was green from another puzzle somewhere along the line, and there was this cashier lady standing behind that desk saying, like, oh, what do you pick? I think the $15 thing, the $10 thing, or the $5 thing, and everyone was just like, this is stupid. Why do we only have a $5 thing? Just click that, but or just like say you want that or something. I guess we were expecting to get something physical in return, but maybe she was saying words. I don't remember what she exactly said. But I decided, looking at what all of the options said, I decided to look at what all of the options said instead of just immediately going for that $5 one, even though that's all we had. Like, just to check if anything happened anyway. Well, nothing happened. We didn't get anything, but I still think that's interesting that I decided to like debunk or try and explore all the puzzle. I think I remember people getting beat up and trying to run away from like gangs. Oh, now I remember there were also passageways that kind of looked like in the catacombs, but not as dark. Like, approximately everywhere in the labyrinth that I remember, it all had the same lighting, but there was this one passageway, and I think just a woman was getting, like, strangled and stuff like that. Maybe there was some water on, like, the ground. Maybe she had bandages on. Just people were trying to, like, attack people for information, stuff like that. And they were dumb enough, like, to murder you, even if you didn't know anything, so you had to fight for your life, or just avoid people. And then, before the whole labyrinth shenanigan, I think something to do with that beach place. Before that, what happened? I don't. Oh yeah, it seemed like this creepy guy was just keep on observing me from a distance. Like, this creepy guy had a family and a kid was a small child, and like she was just playing around. For some reason, I just kept like being around their environment, and they were around mine, like wherever I went. Like I just was close to, I think, that small girl, but this creepy man father was just keep on staring and just looking out where I went all the time. Don't know what that was about. It was in a like city looking place. Okay, maybe not city, like half city, half town place. Like there were a bit of roads and trees, and it looked a bit crowded. Strange. And then I think I started running from them because they were suspecting me of something. Or maybe that was a psychopath father, and I think he was trying to kill me or something. After we got out Labyrinth, there was like just a bunch of hillsides of grass, and I think there was some like flying birds, eagles maybe, and maybe I somehow transformed into a, what is that called? No, not like half horse, half human mythological creature, and I just started running about and being all glad and stuff like that. Like, went away from this labyrinth that we just teleported to, and I started chatting to someone about it whilst running and stuff. Though actually in the distance it was a bit like misty when rain drops down. There was no rain, but like the horizon wasn't clear. It was a bit grayish, like mist that was around there. And there was a bit of a soggy grass. The environment was like, you could tell you were free, but at the same time you were in the middle of nowhere. May I also add that I think there were only 2 or 3 people that actually got onto the other side where I was, so that's also interesting. I don't think it was the people that were complaining, it was actually the people that were like-minded and had a sense of reasoning. Like, it kind of like that door was judgment in a way.